okay, thanks. I just appreciate you being there for me. I've had clients like that who have sat there for years not taking action, but they know I'm there. As soon as something happens with the tax agencies, I'm on the ball and they know they'll need to get moving. Not saying that this is how you want to live your life. I'm telling you, folks, don't do that if you can help it, because once you start getting caught up with missing filings or missing annual reports, the penalties and interest will bury you. So, yeah, be proactive.
The cost of compliance is always way, way less than the cost of non-compliance.
Absolutely. In the US right now, let's just take income tax for all of the citizens here who have to file annually. If you file a tax return with a balance due, you can get penalized up to 25% of the unpaid tax for various types of penalties. And that is all then compounded on an annual basis at 7%. So if
Wow.
somebody has a tax debt going back 5 years, do the math. It could start at $10,000, but by the time 5 years has gone by, that 10,000 has turned into 22.
That is extreme. But
Nauseating.
are you able to share a case, wherein a client came in feeling hopeless, but walked out transformed?
Oh my gosh. It's almost every single client, honestly, because when somebody comes to us, they have this oppressive tax situation. And what is oppressive to one person is a different figure than what somebody else will feel that
Hmm.
that burden with. I have individuals who reach out to me and say, "Oh my gosh, I owe all this money to the IRS here in the US and I can't sleep at night. I need help." And I say, "Okay, well, let's talk about it. How much money do you owe?" And they'll say, "Oh, it's so much. I owe the IRS $8,000. And that's somebody that I will say, first and foremost, you don't need me. You shouldn't pay somebody to get involved with that because that is an amount that you can handle yourself.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to threaten tax liens. They're not going to threaten bank account garnishments or asset seizure. You can handle it yourself. Here's how you do it.
It's
And I
just a
tell
drop in the
them,
pond.
yeah, but to some people, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah, that's like what we call materiality in accounting. What is material to me might not be material to you, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah,
On
but
the other hand,
it is
I
what it
had
is.
I had a conglomeration of family-owned LLCs that owed over $30 million in unpaid payroll tax, and half the time I couldn't get them on the phone because they didn't worry about it. To me, if I owed $30 million, I would be getting ready to meet my maker because I don't think I could deal with that. There's always a solution, but yeah, to some people it just their point of breaking is highly varied. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
we all have like different what I say boiling points, different breaking points. It's just like physics, we are made of different materials. So, some people made of aluminum, some people copper, some people iron. You just need to
No.
discover who we really are. And yeah, everybody have their spirit animals, just
Yep.
like yourself and myself, I'm a lion, you're a lioness.
I'm a
But
lion, absolutely. But I know
so
some people who are fish just flopping around.
Fish. I remember growing up. If my mom wants to make an expression about a person's foolishness, she would say that person has got a fish brain.
My grandmother used to say something similar about bird brains.
Whoa,
Yeah. Yeah.
fish brains. Can you just imagine? But let's talk about your expert moves. And knowing what to do so that you don't get to panic. Because there's something I know about making tough decisions. If you get into a panic mode, you will 9 times out of 10 make a wrong move.
Right.
So, when should someone consider handling tax debt by themselves versus hiring a specialist like yourself?
You know, there are varying degrees, and I'm sure with different tax agencies around the globe, there are thresholds for dealing with each. In the US, if somebody owes income tax less than $25,000, they can typically handle the situation themselves. For business owners with payroll or sales tax obligations that are over 10,000, they want an expert because sales tax and payroll taxes here in the US, there are processes where you, as a business owner, collect that money from your employee or from the general public. You hold that money in trust to then turn over to the federal and state government. And when that doesn't happen, the IRS and the state can pierce any corporate veil and hold individuals personally responsible because they had a duty to oversee that process and it broke down. So for that reason, if a business owner owes over 10,000 in payroll or sales tax, they want an expert to get involved to maneuver through the process with as little negative impact as possible.
Oh,
Anybody who owes income tax over 25,000, you want an expert involved because they start talking about tax liens being filed on your assets. They start threatening bank account garnishments, wage garnishments, asset seizures. So you really do want somebody who is knowledgeable and navigating through that labyrinth to provide as much protection and to say, okay, I've handled thousands of cases like this. Every solution to a tax debt above those thresholds is based on the taxpayer's financial condition. That's what allows you to qualify them for various options to solve the debt. And you want somebody who knows what they're doing, handling it at that point.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so what's one tax trap that small business owners or freelancers should avoid at all costs?
It's called the Dirty Dozen. And these tax scams that are happening within the nation. During COVID in the US, there was the ERC credits and the PPP loans, and these were government programs where employers who maintained employees throughout COVID received an employee retention credit, and they could secure loans through the government that could be written off if they met certain qualifications. The problem was when the government came out with these programs, they didn't have you explain beyond just surface level how you qualified to claim them.
Oh,
So all of a sudden, these mills popped up that would help you claim these credits or apply for these loans, and they would not tell you that you had to pre-qualify yourself. They just did the paperwork and charged you an arm and a leg to do so. And when we got copies of the paperwork to apply for these ERC credits, the employee retention credits, I was working with some people at the time, and we all looked at each other and said, "Oh, this is going to be a disaster." Because there was a line item literally added to the quarterly reports that said, "I qualify to claim this much credit for this quarter," with no justification explanation needed. And it